Hi, my name is Stacy McLaren.
And I'm John Peace.
And this is God in the Gray, a place where we have conversations about religion, spirituality, culture, all of the areas that we find God in the gray. We consider this a conversation as though you've pulled up a chair and joined us out here on the patio in Tucson, Arizona, where we're going to talk and ask questions and just be curious about all these topics. We are obviously real people. We are at a real church, New Life Bible Fellowship in Tucson, Arizona, and today we are joining you from the beautiful outdoor weather, spring in Tucson. So we are so glad that you joined us, and we hope that you enjoyed this episode. So Gen Z has suddenly this year become very important in my life. We had an opportunity. Really, I just think that there was a whisper in my ear and a whisper in a whole lot of other people's ears of this is needed and somebody needs to start it. And so my husband and I said, well, let's open our doors. And we invited a group of 18 to 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds into the house. And what started as a very small group is now we're hitting about 25 people. And it has been this beautiful experience that I didn't even know I wanted or needed. But just to see these young people that I think so many of us, I mean, I can, as a Gen Xer, I'm 56, you have these preconceived notions of young people. Like I used to always say, I am not working with high schoolers again. I just can't do it. Well, they're not high schoolers. They're young adults. I'm in college, and so right now we call them emerging adults. And it's true, they really are emerging adults. And so what I see from this very unique and dynamic group is young people who, they want to make a difference. They want to be real. And they don't use that flippantly. Like they truly want to be in authentic relationships. They don't want to wear masks. And to that end, they're willing to say, I am broken and I carry sin in this area and I need help and I need someone to walk with me and to keep me accountable. And they're not afraid to enter. They're not afraid to push buttons. They're not afraid to enter hard conversations, but they're also not afraid to hear hard answers. And it's been a beautiful, wonderful thing to watch. Again, to watch this group just blossom, each one of them blossom in their own, but then to become this multiplying factor of every week somebody new is coming, and there is an automatic comfort of just, it's like, oh, this is home.
Yeah. And
not just home of a dwelling, but this is home for my heart. So.
And one of those finding home is my son.
It is.
I have two Gen Z kids, both in college. So I just even set the parameters. So what is Gen Z? Gen Z, essentially kind of high school, college, and post-college right now. Gen Alpha are essentially in their nursing, in toddlers, in grade school, middle school. And Gen Beta just started this year, so we don't even know what they look like. But let's talk about Gen Z a little bit. What we're finding out a lot about Gen Z, it's a really exciting generation. It's a generation that's marked by a lot of spiritual openness, perhaps the most spiritually open generation in generations. They are fascinated, eager to learn and grow. They're also very, very open, very, very open, and very much. And this is similar to the older generations, but they're still very anti-institutional.
Yeah.
So they're very spiritual, but not religious. Spiritual, but not in a church. In fact, when you ask that question you try to dig into their spirituality, 68% would say there's many religions they agree with, and 58% say they don't need to choose just one religion. So it's an exciting generation, a generation with a lot of spiritual openness, but that openness is kind of open to everything, and not wanting to close off any boundaries of what true spirituality is.
Yeah. So and what's interesting is that openness kind of leads to what is called unbundled faith. And so I think a better way to look at that is like they look at their faith as an a la carte menu, right? You know, as a matter of fact, only 28% of Gen
Tapas.
Let's go to the tapas faith. There you go. So only 28% of Gen Z trust organized religion completely or a lot, like 28%. That blows my mind. But again, it goes back to, okay, organized religion in their minds has bundled all of these things together, and they don't want all of that. If they believe, you know, I like this from this religion, I like this from this religion, or that sounds good, then they want to pick their spirituality from the a la carte menu, right? And so in Gen Z, mostly what you'll hear when you ask them, well, how do you express your spirituality, or how do you experience spiritual moments? It's through things like hiking in nature by myself, painting, reading, listening to music, writing. And if we stop and we pause to look at all those things, not one of those things is bad. But when you are seeking to grow spiritually, every single one of those things is done by yourself, solo, isolated. And the truth is, you don't grow spiritually, but I don't think you grow as a whole person at all without community. You need community. As Christians, we need community. You know, we read iron sharpens iron. We need each other. It's that push and pull, the dynamic of entering into conversation, the dynamic of, let me help you carry your burdens, or what do you think about this? Or there's a myriad of questions I'm just thinking about engagement with the young people. Just like, it's okay to have conversations about things that you disagree with. That's part of spiritual growth, right? It's actually okay to, it seems opposed, but to have times of solitude in groups, like to go away, have a retreat, but then create moments of solitude where you can then come back and talk about, I think this is what I'm hearing. Can we process this together? So again, we need to encourage the young people in our life not to shy away from community. We also need to be really open. This is going to sound so weird. Open-handed, but with our words when we engage about this unbundled faith, and just not enter those conversations with judgment or you need to do it this way, but more of, tell me why you want to be alone in this. Like, what does that give you? And being alone is not bad. Let me just first say that. I need solitude, you need solitude, we need silence, we need space. But to do it all on an island is just not the way we have deep roots. It's not the way we grow.
I want to go there. I want to have an invitation to Gen Z. I want to speak directly to you. And then you're going to share an invitation to the church. And then I'm going to talk about invitation to pastors. So first, let me start with you. If you're Gen Z, you're listening to this, man, I'd love to get to know you, because I love Gen Z. I love the way you think. You're so much more optimistic than your millennial or Gen X, kind of those older than you. You have a fresh way of looking at the world, an exciting, enthusiastic way of engaging faith. And I love being with you. And I think you have so much to offer. And I want to invite you to step into, in this spiritual journey, I want you to just broaden out and experience the gift that God has given you. The journey that you're going on, millennia of human beings around the world have taken this journey. Different contexts and different places, different language and different backgrounds, but it's a journey that you can learn from so many other different people. And I really think that's one of the gifts that we have as the church. I mean, you can just pick up, a book of someone who's walked this journey in front of you. You can pick up a book of someone who lived in the 300s, St. Augustine, and follow his path as a young man of coming to faith. You can pick up the book of those who followed in different faith traditions and experienced those things firsthand. But you can also experience people. And I think that's one of the most exciting, invigorating invitations that I can offer you, is to experience the church. I love our church. Our church is just one church. We're not a perfect church by any stretch of the imagination. But when you come on campus here on a Sunday morning, every single generation, actually just last year we had someone over 100 here. I was going to say you have people over 100. I don't think we have anybody over 100 in the congregation, but we have people in their 90s, and a number of people in their 90s, all the way down to little kids. And you get to walk out and step with them and follow and listen to God together and learn from each other. And I just think that's so invigorating. I love one of the things that we do as pastors here at New Life is we preach our sermons beforehand to a preaching team. And I just love the gift of hearing from many different generations, the way they hear as I process God's word and try to articulate that, and then they give back to me what they're hearing. It's so helpful. And that's what community is. It's us sharpening each other, us in love, challenging each other, inviting each other forward. It's us navigating. We just not long ago had a marriage conference here, and we literally in that conference had couples who weren't even engaged yet, and one couple would have been married 56 years was at the conference. And at tables together, I mean, those are fruitful conversations. To have conversations with somebody who's walked through a lot is just a wonderful thing. And I know the rest of your generation is trying to do this on their own. I just want to say that there are those of you who aren't, and that is a fruitful life. It's fruitful in terms of relationships. It's fruitful in terms of spiritual insight. It's fruitful in terms of spiritual growth. I want to invite you into that journey.
So an invitation to churches. You may be a ministry leader at a church, pastor at a church. I think the biggest thing, and we say this often about a lot of different things, is you've got to be authentic. Well, can I just double down on that with this generation? If you're not, they can sniff it from 10 miles away. They are going to know it, and they're not going to even come close because they know what's real, and they know I use the phrase, they know who's blowing smoke up their skirts. It's not going to fly with them. And so I think you can't be gimmicky. This is not about putting on a show. It's not about throwing out cool sound bites or cool TikToks or creating a platform or performance on stage. It's not about being the cool YouTuber that's going to, try and, again, I've seen pastors my age try to dress like an 18-year-old, and
I just with there's like a 20-year-old who came up after service, and he's wearing these Crocs, and I'm like, dude, I love that you can pull that off. There's no way in the world I could ever pull that off.
and every time I see it, I'm just silently, it's like, oh, okay, just recenter, So I think that's part of it, is like, it's not about a platform. It's not about being cool. They don't want cool. They want real. They want charitability when it comes to entering conversations. Ask the hard questions. Like, don't be afraid. Don't tiptoe, because, young people smell fear, it's just part of it. But what better way to say, I don't know the answer to that question. How about we find out ourselves? Ask the hard questions, receive the hard questions, and don't try to be something that you're not, because they don't want that. They want you. They want ministries that are run by people who've been through it, who understand and are willing to say, you know what, I get it. And what you're going through, even though I may have gone through the same thing at my age, you're going through it in a different time period right now, and you're seeing it through a different lens. And so I want to enter that with you, and I want to process it through your lens, and then I want to help you see that through my lens, and then let's figure out a way to make it make sense, and to seek God together. And again, I go back to, it's together. It's not about alone. It's together. And so we have to walk open-handed. We cannot expect young people to conform to the way we did it, or that's not the way we did it when I was younger, or that's not, like we just had a conversation about a book that we're going through. And I realized that the reason why these young people didn't like this book is because they didn't realize what had come before them. Praise God, that they didn't have to realize that there were people that fought for these things that they could just have without ever thinking about it. So I think you have to look at that. Don't force them to see things through your lens. Step into their world. The other thing is, we build our sermon series around not y'all being separated. You're actually being a part of. This is where I struggle. We just this past spring had a series on mental health. That's key for Gen Z, right? We know that they struggle with mental health issues at a very high percentage rates. And so to step into that and say, you know what, we recognize that this is a problem and we're not going to put that all on you. We're actually going to get down. We're going to get in it with you and we're going to walk through it with you. You have to be real.
I love that. I hear you saying, listen, we have to deal with hard issues. We have to be willing to talk about hard things. But we have to do it with charity.
Yep.
We have to do it with vulnerability, and we have to do it with authenticity. It's so good. Let me just have a word to pastors now. If your pastor is listening to this, let me share some bad news with you, and then some good news on top of that bad news. Here's the bad news. Gen Z does not innately trust you. They don't. Back in 2021, 64% of Americans trusted pastors. Today, only 30% of Americans trust pastors. It gets worse. Only 45% of people believe pastors are average in terms of ethics and honesty. Now, and obviously those numbers skew. The younger you get, the more they skew away from you. So here's the deal. I've been around pastors before. You can feel in them the upset, the frustration of dealing with people, with congregations who disrespect them innately. That the posture of them coming in is, you're gonna have to win me over. And I just need to tell you with love, pastors, you just need to accept that. View it as a beautiful challenge, right? And it's a challenge that will not be won in the ways that so often we think we can win, right? We're sending this out on social media, right? That's okay. It's a good tool. I'm just going to share. If you've never met me and you're watching this, my hunch is the trust meter's not getting tipped very far. Where the trust meter begins to be impacted is when we live life within community with real people, when we're connected in real relationships. There's a power there that cannot be duplicated. And so I just invite you to open your door, to open avenues where you can create real relationships with Gen Z in your congregations. And that will have such an enormous impact, because trust is going to be slow to be won. Trust is going to be slow to be given. But when that trust is given, it's a beautiful gift. Because when the posture of someone is kind of defensive in nature and they're naturally not trusting people, when Gen Z actually believes that you are who you say you are, that the life on the platform is the same as the life at the home, is the same as the life at the gym, then you have credibility. Then you have a traction that you can move forward in your ministry. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, can we just say, there's actually a gift in that? Do we want to be those who are living in an age where trust is just given to us because we're the town pastor, because we're the town doctor, right? That's an age that's long since past us. And I want to say, actually, I think it's a gift. It's a gift to live in an age where we get to be those who do the hard work, the good work, the gospel work of gaining credibility with Gen Z.
So good. So just a couple of words of encouragement back to churches and ministry leaders. This doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the perfect room for young people to meet in. As a matter of fact, you have someone in your congregation who is starting to feel a tug of, I want to engage here. and they can open their home. And that is where the connection happens. It's in a home, it's around a table. And let me tell you, your homes don't have to be perfect. Those kids show up, they don't care if the floor is swept, they don't care that there's dog hair, all the food and conversation and games. Like, those are the important things, because that's where the connection.
Did you mention food?
Food.
That's
Food.
very important.
The more boys, the more food, So, but those are the important things. That's where your connection is going to come. And then for churches, nope, I already said that for churches. For Gen Z, ask. If there's somebody that you are watching and you're like, I'd like to get to know them better, I think that they have something to give me, ask. And they, more often than not, are going to say, yes, I will gladly do that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I will gladly do that. Come to my house on Thursday at 6. It'll be great. So there's the encouragement for you. Just do it. God is opening these doors. He's opening these young people's lives. They want what we have to offer. And you know what? They have so much to offer back that we need to accept open-handed. So this has been a fun episode. Again, we love Gen Z. Engaging with them has been so much fun. If you have any questions or comments, would you leave them down below and we will answer them as soon as we see them. We encourage you to hit that like and subscribe button so that you don't miss any episodes. And we are so glad that you joined us.